Okay, now, since the 17th century, one of the most common objections to the Christian faith has been the claim that Christianity is irrational because it can't be proven. In fact, a man called John Mackey, who was one of the leading atheists of the 20th century, he's died now, but he was actually a professor in Otago for a little while, and he was one of the leading atheists of the 20th century. He writes a book called The Miracle of Theism, which is a pretty thick book attacking belief in God. At the start of this book, he says what's crucial and vital is whether belief in God can be proven. And he assumes that this is the method that should be adopted. You need to, and he says that Christians need to provide some kind of scientific evidence or some kind of proof for their beliefs. And the rest of his book is devoted to trying to show the purported proofs and knocking them down. And so, Mackey's position, which is quite interesting, is he suggests that what is vital to the rationality of Christian faith is that those beliefs can be proven. Now, an initial question that should be asked, I think, here, before people jump in and try and provide proofs for the Christian faith is, why assume this? Why accept this belief which undergirds the objection of the doubt? And it's important at the outset to notice that not everything one believes needs to be proven, to be rational. There are at least two reasons for this. The first is the claim that everything must be proven to be rationally believed actually leads to what philosophers call an infinite regress. Roy Clauser, who wrote a really good book on this, he gives an example of this. Roy Clauser says, if everything needs to be proven, then the premises of every proof would need to be proven. But if you need a proof for every proof, you need a proof for every proof, and a proof for every proof, and so on forever, right? Thus, it makes no sense to demand that everything be proven, because an infinite regress of proofs is impossible. What Clauser says here is actually a fairly well-established, accepted point. Not everything you believe needs to be proven. You prove belief A on the basis of belief B. Well, then why accept B? Well, then you have belief C. Somewhere there's going to be a set of basic fundamentals or foundational beliefs from which people approach the world and assess everything else on the basis of it. So that's the first point to know. Not all beliefs need to be proven. A second point that establishes the same conclusion is that there are many things which we believe quite rationally which can't be proved. Such things as that you're sitting there in front of you. It's actually, I can't get into the detail here, but actually it's been shown in philosophy it's pretty difficult to prove that. Anyone who watched the movie The Matrix will see why. And another one is the belief that other people have thoughts and feelings. Okay, I don't feel other people's thoughts and feelings, but I believe that other people have thoughts and feelings. So there are certain beliefs we have which can't be proven, and these beliefs are quite rational. Now, Alvin Plantinga, who's one of the world's leading Christian philosopher, noted this. And so he put to a conference one time in which a whole lot of skeptics were present. This question, he said, well, look, given that there are some things that you can believe irrationally that can't be proven, and he used the example I just used, he says, why do you assume that Christian belief needs to be proven irrational? And a guy called Kai Nielsen gave a really interesting answer, which I think goes to the heart of this whole issue. Kai Nielsen says, this is what he said in response to Plantinga. All of us can agree, at least for a large range of cases, whether someone is in pain, whether he's thinking, feeling anxious or the like. We do in general agree about these things. Only a madman would claim that no one is ever in pain, or no one even knows that another person is in pain. The same is true for thinking, feeling anxious, sad, and the like. But the situation is very different in religion. Note what is at the heart of Kai Nielsen's position here. Okay? Kai Nielsen's basic idea is that religious beliefs are beliefs that not all people agree on. All sane people agree on things like that other people exist in their feelings. But educated, sane people in the world today don't believe in the Christian faith. So the distinction seems to be there are some beliefs which sort of everybody holds and they can be taken for granted. But beliefs that are not held by all sane people, they need to be proven. And so if you were to put this into a kind of more formal form, you get this here is really the objection at its heart. What I call the objection to the lack of proof. It really is based on two essential assumptions. Notice what I'm doing here, I'm following that method Keller talked about, finding the assumptions behind the objection, and then start to ask questions about it. Behind this objection is the idea that a belief is rational if it is either A, acknowledged to be true by all sane people, or B, can be proven from premises that are acknowledged to be true by all sane people. Do you see that? That's the assumption. And then, of course, the second assumption is that religious beliefs are not acknowledged to be true by all sane people, nor can they be proven to be true from beliefs accepted by all sane people. Okay? So these are the two assumptions behind this objection. Okay? Now, I could say a lot about this objection, but I'm not going to say a lot. I'm just going to point out to you a really interesting point that's often missed, and that's that the first of these assumptions is actually self-refuting. A self-refuting statement is a statement which is such that if it's true, then you have reason for rejecting it. For example, if I stood up here at this point in my talk and I said, I cannot speak a word of English in English, right, you would immediately laugh. I mean, some people do, right, because it's a self-refuting statement. The very act of uttering that statement shows there's something wrong with it. Take the claim articulated in the first assumption here, that if something is not acknowledged by all sane people, then it needs to be proven to be true. This claim itself is one that is contested in the philosophical literature. So this claim itself is one that is not acknowledged by all sane people. So, if we are to be rational in believing this claim, the person who makes it needs to prove it. And they need to prove it from premises that all sane people accept. Okay? Until they do, their objection is irrational. Do you see that? What they're doing is they're applying a standard to Christian belief. And the basis of that standard is a set of assumptions which violate the very standard they're applying to Christian belief. And so until they actually provide some compelling proof for this first assumption, and it's a proof from premises that all people accept, which is a pretty high standard. There's not a lot of things you can show from premises that everybody agrees on. This objection really is a contradiction. Okay, you see that? So this common idea, you need to prove Christian belief, often is based, ironically, on an unproven statement and contradicts itself. Okay, you see that? Okay. I think a similar thing can be said about the second objection I want to look at tonight. Just remember I was talking about three common objections. So that was the first one I just did. The second one is the idea that it's arbitrary to believe one particular religion is true. This is very common, the idea, well, you believe Christianity is true, there's always alternatives. It's completely arbitrary for you to believe that Christianity is true, and there's always others. Notice the similarities with the last objection. The last objection was based on the idea you can't believe things that, it's not accepted by all sane people. It's very similar to what I'm making. And I want to suggest to you that this second argument, this idea that it's kind of arbitrary to believe Christianity is true and there's all the alternatives, has similar problems. Let me note two things about this. The first thing to note is that this objection is based on a belief. And the belief is that if numerous other people do not accept this position or hold an alternative position, it's somehow arbitrary or irrational to accept it. You see that? The idea is it's arbitrary and irrational to accept Christianity because there's all these alternatives to it. Okay? So this objection is basically saying, look, there's lots of different alternatives to what you believe. It's arbitrary for you to believe if they say you do. Now, you'll see immediately the problem with this is that this claim itself is one of which there are alternatives to it. Okay? There are many people, Muslims, Jews, Christians, what have you, who don't actually accept this idea that you have to, that it's arbitrary to believe things if there are many alternatives to it. So if this basic idea were true, it would refute itself. You see that?